Yo, what's up, guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back. If you're new here, make sure to join the family. All right, let's just hop into it. Today, I'm going to talk about my mixing journey. And what I mean by that is like how I got into mixing, how I started, where I started from, how long it took, right? Because that's the one thing that a lot of people wonder about is how long did it take to get to where you are? Everybody's path is different. So I figured I'd share mine a little bit. Maybe you can relate to it. Maybe you're somewhere along in your journey and, seeing what mine is can maybe inspire you to keep going. Who knows? Hopefully you take something good out of this. So with that being said, let's just jump right into it. So how I got started was, I'm an artist first, primarily rap. I'm a rap artist, hip hop, whatever you want to call it. Sing a little bit, but what's the difference these days, right? But anyways, I started making music. I've been writing raps the better half of my life. I've been writing a lot for a long time. So when I first used to record my music, I didn't have a setup at my house, or what I did was I would record at my friend's house. He would record me and mix for me, and we didn't really know what we were doing all that much, but we had fun and we made it work. So shout out to him for real, because those were the days. And we just would just record in his room with no treatment and just try to make it work. We just had one of those reflective shields, which you might as well have nothing if that's all you have, but that's for another video. And then I started to take myself a little bit more seriously, and I was recording some songs that at the time I thought were like, okay, these are gonna be big. I wanna do this right. So what I did was I booked some studio time at this nice professional studio out in New York City. Wasn't cheap, especially at the time, but I was like, it'll be a cool experience, it'll be fun, and I was like, this is what I need to do. So I went to the studio a few times. They were great. Shout out to them. It was a great learning experience. I got to see a bunch of things in gear that I had at the time had no idea what it was. I had no idea what was going on, but the end result was good. It was a great experience. But then from there, I would go back to my friend's house to record. But I eventually I was like, I just need to be able to do this myself. I saw what my friend had, which was pretty inexpensive. I think I got the same interface, the same microphone. Um, and that's how I ended up using Logic Pro, was because I had an Apple MacBook at the time, and that's what he used was Logic. So I was like, I'll just get everything he has and use everything he uses. So I was recording myself in Logic, but I didn't know how to mix, right? I learned the basics of how to function and move around in Logic and how to edit, etc., how to apply effects if I wanted. But I was sending my mixes out remotely to mix engineers to get my music mixed, and then they would send it back to me, which worked out fine. But as I got a little bit more experienced with Logic and more curious and learned more, cool little effects and stuff and editing, and was just getting better at using Logic and recording myself, I started to want to get more hands-on. And I was like, maybe I could do this mixing thing myself, and then this way I can get my mixes to sound how I envision them, right? Because as great as the mix engineers I worked with, it was probably my fault. I didn't know how to communicate what I wanted, so I was like, I need to do this myself. So that's when I went on YouTube and I started watching tutorials of how to mix for beginners, for basics, right? Videos like these and some of the videos that I upload. And so I would watch those and I would try to do something similar in Logic. And, obviously my mixes weren't good when I started out, but I was at least getting familiar with the tools that are used in mixing and what they do. And, I practiced that a little bit behind the scenes, but I was still getting these songs shipped out to mix by other people. But eventually I was like, I'm going to make a song, I'm going to record it, I'm going to put effects on it. I don't care how long it takes me when I mess around with it, I'm going to mix it myself. And I just drown my vocals in reverb until it sounds cool, and then I could say I mixed it. And, that's kind of what I did. But I remember I put out my first song that I was like, I mixed this myself. And at the time, I liked it. From there, it was over. It was a wrap. I was like, I'm mixing everything on my own from now on. And that's what I did. I would just mix my own records and put them out. And, they weren't good, but at the time, I thought they were. And I just kept doing that, learning, hands-on experience with my own music. So it definitely helps to record yourself, even if you're not an artist, just to give yourself sources to practice with. If you don't do that, find free multi-track stems online and practice with those, because tutorials are great, and that's about half of the learning, but the other half, you got to get hands-on, right? You have to actually make the music. So I would keep watching tutorials, keep mixing my own music, learning, practicing, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, of course, getting better. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, maybe I wasn't ready, but I thought I was at the time. And when are you ever really ready, right? But I took the leap and I was like, I'm going to offer this as a service to other people. I didn't charge much, but I was like, if anybody needs it, let me know. I actually I made a Fiverr account and offered mixing and mastering as a service along with ghostwriting, because at this point, I've been writing music for a while. Like, I could do that for sure. So I created these gigs, and I think this was about 2016. I didn't get a single order, and I kind of forgot about the app entirely until 2019. Now, like I said, I'm pretty sure I made it in 2016, but I know for a fact my first order was 2019. And this was right in a transition period in my life where I was moving and relocating and going to school, and I was leaving my job, and I was like, what am I going to do? And it kind of just came in perfectly. I started to get orders on Fiverr, and I was like, I'm going to do this. So yeah, I got my first order for mixing, and it popped up on my phone, and I was like, oh my God, like I forgot about this. Like, someone's going to let me mix their song for money. Like, let's go. So, I did that. There's quite a few revisions on that. If I remember correctly, most of them were issues with files, kind of out of my control, but there was, I'm not absolving myself of blame here. Like, I was definitely not the best mix. Thank you for believing in me though, and I made it right. But yeah, a couple revisions, I did it. I was happy to do them. And once I got that order completed and the customer satisfied and I got 5-star review, I was like, I could do this. Like, I like my own mixes. Other people like them. It's all systems go. I just gotta put the foot on the gas here. And I got that 5-star review. I don't know how much later it was, but pretty soon after, got another order, 5 stars. And then it just picked up crazy, and I just kept getting orders and orders and orders. And I was doing this full time right off the bat. It's only been, 5 years now? Not even fully 5 years at this point. And I mixed thousands of songs, mastered thousands of songs. So I got lucky in that sense that I got a lot of work from the beginning. But like I said, it took me 3 years of inactivity to even find the first one. So this is kind of why this video I feel is important to tell my story, because like I said, everyone's is different and you never know what's going to happen. Some people might think like, I'm not going to make a Fiverr account. No one's going to order, or nobody uses that, or nobody's going to believe in me. And it was just because I took that risk and waited 3 whole years that it paid off. Now, that's not the only thing I did and got lucky. I tried many other websites, reaching out, doing this, doing that. I tried everything I could put my mind to. None of it worked, right? It's just like you throw stuff at the wall until something sticks. And that's what this was. That was the one thing that I did that stuck. But if I didn't have the mindset where I was like, I got to try everything I possibly can to increase my chances, it wouldn't have happened. I always use the analogy of like, it's like a lottery ticket. Every little thing that you try is a lottery ticket. Most of the time, it's not going to give you anything. But if you get enough lottery tickets, eventually you'll have that winner, and it'll pay off for itself and all the other losers. And that, in this case, for me, was by making a Fiverr account. Since then, I've done many other things. But that was how I got started, was waiting 3 years and then getting my first order on Fiverr. And then from there, like I said, I would practice, get better by working for other people, continue making my own music and learning from that. And also continuing to watch YouTube tutorials. I still to this day watch a ton, refresh myself, get a different perspective. Like, you never stop learning. And then from there, I started to venture out because I realized that I kind of have a skill for teaching people as well. I would talk about this like to people that I knew, whether friends or other musicians, and they would just understand what I was saying. And I remember back before I could engineer, I was like, that sounds so crazy. I'll never be a mix engineer. Like, how do people do that? But I taught myself it. So I was like, if I could teach myself and I could teach other people, like, I should offer virtual lessons. So then, I created a gig for virtual lessons, and now I do mixing, mastering. I teach mixing and mastering. I offer mix feedback. I do all sorts of different things just within the mixing and mastering, umbrella. And this is because I continued to learn, I continued to branch out, and I just took risks. And that was just my journey. If you need to start and do something different, like work for free, record a local band, whatever it may be, just take all the risks, because honestly, most people might not tell you this, but honestly, most of them are going to yield you nothing. You might learn one thing, which you could say it was worth it. You might learn nothing. It might frustrate you and cost you money and time and give you absolutely nothing in return. But unless you try everything, you'll never find the one thing that works. And when you do find that, that is going to pay off for itself in everything else that you failed in. And I feel like this applies to more than just mixing. It's kind of like life advice, but especially in mixing, like there's plenty of videos, and I'm going to upload one eventually, of like how to get gigs or make money mixing. And that might work for that specific person's story, but for you, it might not. But you have to try them all until you find what works for you. Then you double down on that. But I'm not about to get too preachy up here. I just wanted to give you guys the backstory of how I started. A lot of people ask me, um, you know, so it started with my own music and recording myself and just slowly learning and through YouTube. I've never taken a course, and that's not to say they're bad. I actually forgot to mention that. I also offer courses. Not trying to sell you on those, but I created courses. I do lessons, so I do it all. But my journey was YouTube tutorials and practicing with my own recordings. Other people's are go to college and then at work as an intern in a studio, right? Like the old traditional one. But everybody's path is different. I just wanted to let you know mine. Maybe you can relate to it. Maybe you can take something from it. Maybe you can say you completely disagree and you want to do something different. Either way, all three of those are valuable. And this video was supposed to, in my head before I started recording, I was like, this is going to be like 3 minutes. And I feel like it's really long now. I just rambled a lot. I'm sorry, but if you stuck with me, thank you. I appreciate it. Like I've been saying, plenty of more videos coming this year. We're cranking them out back to back to back. So with that being said, I'm Inswain with Inswain Audio. Check out the description, my website. I offer those services if you want to check them out. If you need them, let's get your music sounding right. Anyways, thank you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.